Hello beer tubers and welcome to another beer review with me, Peter, the master of hoppets, checking out some more classic English beer from the Badger Brewery, also known as Hall and Woodhouse Brewery, or Hall and Woodhouse Limited in Blandford in Dorset in the south of England. The brewery that I pretty much owe my interest in beer. As you might have seen, Brewery 4000 was quite a different beer, and because I was able to find beers from this brewery, I haven't been able to find beer from this brewery for a long time. I found actually a selection. I think it was 4 different bottles, or 5, and I got all of them because I wanted to try them. Some I've never tried, some I've tried, and I was sure I reviewed most on the channel, but I never did. Most of these I never reviewed, and they're fairly fresh bottles. They're from June, so and we're in August now, so that's awesome. So Badger Brewery, as I said in that Review 4K video, is just a brewery that I had ups and downs with. They've gone through so many different design changes over the years. It's crazy. But I had a point where, for me, it was peak beer. It was like, wow, English beer is just the best. I need more English beer in my life. To, yeah, this is getting too boring for me. I need more crazy American stuff. And now we're getting to a point where I'm going back to more classic, simple beers and getting more into classic, simple beer again, because simplicity is also awesome. Soft complexities is also awesome. I really am starting to become like fully intertwined and loving all these things again, and not just liking bold and big things, although I also like those a lot. But I'm really looking forward to this because it smells really good from here. So this is a fairly large brewery as well. They sell beer in most supermarkets in the UK, at least a lot. And this is their Hare, which is their pale ale. So this is a 4% English pale ale with American hops. It's inspired by, so it says, straight from the fields of Dorset, this perfect prize fighter, Hare, and knockout pale ale inspired by its punchy hoppy namesakes, which is Cascade and Amarillo. Others may challenge, but this contender got heart and a big citrus hook that gets you right in the taste buds. Light and perfectly balanced. With Cascade and Amarillo hops, we know whose corner we're in. Contains malted barley and sulfate, may contain wheat. And that's probably because they're a bigger brewery. So you can have a mix-up of grains, or have a little bit of a leftover amount of wheat in your mill or something like that. I think they're one of the biggest still independent breweries in the UK. I don't think the Badger Ales are owned by any of the big guys. So, but yeah, man, I'm looking forward to revisiting this. So this takes me back to the days of early master of hoppets. Lightly carbed, golden yellow beer. This takes me back to the days of drinking. It actually looks like a lot of golden ales. It's maybe a slightly more darker yellow hue than some classic golden ales. So maybe that's also why they call it a pale ale. But golden ales back in the day, hoppy golden ales from like Crouch Vale. Oh, I love that stuff with American hops. Whitehead looks nice. Let's check out the aroma on Hare. I think they've done it for quite a few years. I remember the name. I just don't think I ever tried this one. Oh my Lord. Oh, this is so freaking nostalgic. And it just put a smile on my face. This smells so quintessentially English, and it smells so much like early beer journey for me. It is citric. It is slightly citrus marmalade-y, but it's bright. Zesty, snappy. There is definitely like that nice, rich, like one of the things with a lot of these older breweries that have house yeast in the UK and England, they have abundance of yeast character. And I'm also sure must be some classic English hops in here, but I'm getting like nettly notes and stewed fruity notes and things I often associate with classic English hops. It actually smells pretty nice. And these are also the kind of beers that often get really bad reps online these days. I think people never rate stuff like this high. But I'm also fairly certain that Badger Ales is not like the best of like traditional breweries. But to me, that right now this smells great. It's been a long week. I'm excited. Let's try it. Cheers. I bought this on Optimal. I'm not sure I mentioned that. That is English Pale Ale meets American Pale Ale. That's actually pretty nice. Very, very, very refreshing stuff. I mean, this is a beer that I think in the UK is sold for like £1 something, £1.50, £1.30, max £2. It's like supermarket beer that's not really expensive. For that, I think you get a lot of bang for your buck. Like, this is miles ahead of like a lot of Danish supermarket beer. What I love about this is like, it doesn't feel watered down and soulless. It feels quintessentially English, but with a slight American adaptation to it, or interpretation to it. Because there's a lot of jammy fruit to this. Lots of like jammy, stone fruity, marmalade vibes, paired with like hints of grapefruit, piney notes, a bit of orange, like all those kind of notes from the American hops. A good bitterness as well. It's surprisingly bitter. And for 4%, the mouthfeel is also surprisingly great. And it has like nettly notes. Like, it's so quintessentially British. Really refreshing. Dry, yet slightly fluffy. Like, oh man, I really would love to drink more beers like this. I rarely feel like just completely solo doming bottles of beer these days. But fuck, this is great. This is, again, like America meets England. And it feels like there's definitely pale ale vibes because it's bitter, but there's also some vibe here that reminds me of golden ale because it has like that slight soft malt backbone. It's not super malty. Like a lot of classic English pale ales has a bit more substantial malt flavor. It's somewhere in between because it's also more malty than some of the classic English golden ales. I love that like English yeast character in this. That stewed fruity, marmalade-y, stone fruity thing. Like it, and it's done like they know how to wrangle their yeast because it's so rare you get people interpreting English beers where the beers have this much yeast character. This is fucking great, actually. The more I'm drinking it, the more I'm just loving it. And it's a supermarket beer from the UK that's not that expensive. But classic beers like this has its charm too. Like I remember back in the day, man, I just wanted to pound these. And I remember, I think when I started the channel, you could still get a little bit of Badger Ales, but I was like iffy about getting them because I was getting into all of these new things. Because I think I only reviewed the Golden Champion. I don't think I reviewed anything else. Although I tried like everything. I went through like Simon from Real Craft Beer. He's reviewed loads of Badger Ales. And like all the original reviews, I think one of his first one was England's Gold or England's Best. Like I drank that beer. Like I drank all the different Badger beers I could get my hand on. That was like the first brewery where I was just like seeking everything out. And then I was like, oh man, I love these beers. And I think because of that, I tried like my first ESB, which, well, that was my first craft beer that was not a lager. And because of that, like ESB was my thing. I was seeking out many ESBs. I remember just going apeshit over Wells Bombardier and Fuller's ESB back in the day. Although Wells and Young's, I don't know who owns them now, but they're watered down versions of their former self. But I think this holds up, and I think it's really nice. I'm really enjoying this. It is taking me back to a time where beer was new for me, and it's so nice. But it's not all nostalgia. It's also well-made beer. There's no flaws. There's no off flavors. When I first cracked the bottle, I was like, is there a bit of skunk? But not on the nose. I think it's just a combination of those English, yeasts or the English yeast and the hops. It just smells so quintessentially English. Like as with everything, you need a frame of reference to judge completely fair. And I think a lot of people are going to disagree with this grade, but I'm just going to go straight 90 on this. I think this is banging. I want to fucking just chug this. It makes me want to go to the wharf, get a cask of something really fresh, and just sit like, oh, this is nice. Oh. This makes me want to go back to England and travel around drinking cask ale and drinking classic English beer so much. And this is just like, for sure, probably not the best example you can get of English pale ale or golden ales at all. It's just like what I can get right now. It's in prime condition because it's fairly fresh. And so I think there's a few parameters that plays in. And then, like, again, my frame of reference, because I haven't been drinking these beers in a long time, it's also different. Like, there's probably golden ales I would have that you can see, okay, that's miles better than this beer. It's the same with like pilsners. I'm like, for example, with the Franconian lagers and all that. Right now, I'm so in tune with like, okay, I know when something's fucking great and something's just like, it's okay, it's good. I don't know that about golden ales and English pale ales anymore because it's been years since I drank them. So my frame of reference has kind of just dropped a bit. And so this is the kind of new starting point, but it's pretty good. It's almost like when I had these kind of beers back in the day for the first time. It was like, what? Beer can taste like this? So fruity? Holy shit, I love this. This is great. Yeah, straight 90. I actually really like this. I was very skeptical about this. There's something actually to this that reminds me a lot of like Fuller's did a beer called Wild River, which was in a pale ale with American hops as well. It's got vibes of a beer like that. I'm not sure if they still do that, but that I remember back in the day, we freaking loved that. And what's amazing is it's only 4%. It's only 4%. And it's got all this flavor and a slick mouthfeel that finishes dry. And yeah, it's impressive. The English definitely also know their brewing. It's not just the Germans. I mean, the big brewing nations historically of Europe, you know, Germany, Czech Republic, the UK. That's probably some of the biggest. And then you can also talk about Austria and Switzerland, I guess. And you can talk about all these other countries that also brew beer, but hotspots, hotbeds for beer. Germany, Czech Republic, the UK. But yeah, wonderful stuff. So if you guys had a chance, this was a way too long video, sorry for that. But if you guys had a chance to try Badger Brewery's Hopping Hare, let me know what you thought of it. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This was exactly what I needed. So if you guys had a chance to try it, let me know what you thought of it. As always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and ring the bell for future notifications about videos. And I bought this on Optimal if you're interested in trying it. And I'm going to say cheers and see you guys in another beer review.